From The National, this is Trending Middle East. I'm Yasmin Al-Taji. It's Thursday, July 24th. Here are today's headlines. U.S. Ambassador to Israel Mike Huckabee visited the occupied West Bank on Wednesday. There, he met Palestine Liberation Organization, or PLO, Vice President Hussein al-Sheikh. Huckabee paid his first official visit to the headquarters of the Palestinian Authority in Ramallah since he took up his post in April. The visit comes amid mounting international pressure on Israel as its war in Gaza continues. The National's Thomas Helm reports from Jerusalem.
The meeting between Mike Huckabee and Hussein al-Sheikh on Tuesday is important for a number of reasons. One is that Hussein al-Sheikh is an important Palestinian politician, but it's probably even more important for saying something about how the PA is being forced to change its approach to the US and in particular Donald Trump. During Trump's first term, the PA refused to meet the then US ambassador called David Friedman. Friedman and Huckabee share many similarities, very pro-Israel politics, but also pro-occupied West Bank settlement, which obviously is a massive threat for all Palestinians and the PA in the West Bank.
Al-Sheikh was appointed vice president of the PLO in April. It was a newly created role, which has been seen by some as a way for Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas to appoint a successor and delegate some of his responsibilities.
There are many reasons why this meeting might be taking place. The PA is extremely weak. It is in the middle of a very bad financial crisis with no end in sight. The Israeli military is launching massive operations in parts of the West Bank that the PA is supposed to entirely control. Settler violence is spiraling. There are massive attacks, vandalism, thefts now on a daily basis. But there's another way to look at it, which is that Mr. Huckabee seems to be being slightly more sensitive to the sort of issues that really affect Palestinians at the moment. Things like settler violence, attacks on Palestinian property.
Huckabee is a leading figure on the conservative Christian right in the U.S. and is close to pro-Israeli settlement groups.
Mr. Huckabee is keen never to use the word settler, but in recent days he's slammed both the killing, apparently at the hands of Israeli settlers, by U.S. Palestinian citizens, Saifullah Musallat, and he has also criticized, again apparently by Israeli settlers, the attack on a 5th century church in the West Bank village of Taibeh.
Syria is investigating violence that erupted in Sweida this month. The Syrian Defense Ministry said it's aware of reports of quote-unquote shocking violations carried out by fighters wearing military fatigues in the Druze heartland in the south. Sectarian clashes intensified last week between the Druze and Bedouin tribes. Violence escalated when government troops were sent to the city. More than 300 people were killed in the fighting that also involved Israeli strikes on Syrian government forces. The National's Khaled Yacoub Oweis reports.
The United States intervened last week and basically imposed a ceasefire under which a government offensive on Sweida has been curbed. However, sources in Jordan tell The National that Israel has threatened the Syrian government that unless it withdraws all its forces from Sweida, Israel will renew an air campaign on Syrian military targets and militia targets in the area.
Israel claims to be supporting the Druze, who form a significant minority in Israel and are often conscripted to the Israeli armed forces. Syria and Israel agreed to a ceasefire last Friday, but war monitors and witnesses accused forces affiliated to the new Syrian government of carrying out executions in the city. Syria's defense minister Munhaf Abu Qasra said on Tuesday there would be quote-unquote no tolerance for perpetrators of human rights breaches in Sweida, even if they were committed by ministry forces. A committee has been tasked to investigate the reports and to try to identify those who were wearing military uniforms and carrying out atrocities. Meanwhile, the U.S. has arranged talks between Syria and Israel.
Tom Barak, the U.S. envoy to both Syria and Turkey, has arranged a meeting in Baku, Azerbaijan, on Thursday between Syrian and Israeli officials to try and stop the escalation of hostilities. Axios, the U.S. news outlet, first broke news of the meeting. However, sources in Jordan, as well as two senior Western diplomats, have told The National that Turkey will also be present in the meeting in Baku. This would be the second meeting between Israeli and Syrian officials about South Syria since last month, when Turkey arranged a meeting between the two sides. The government attack on Sweida has drawn thousands of pro-government militants into the area, which borders Jordan and is not far from Israel.
Saudi Arabia is expected to sign around $4 billion worth of investment deals with Syria today. The Syrian-Saudi Investment Forum 2025 will draw broad participation from the public and private sectors. That's according to the kingdom's Ministry of Investment, which is organizing the event. The National's Dana Alomar reports.
This is marking one of the most significant steps yet in the region's post-conflict re-engagement with the capital. The agreements are being finalized today at the Syrian-Saudi Investment Forum in Damascus, where a high-level Saudi delegation, of course led by Investment Minister Khaled is in town, along with over 120 investors across various sectors.
Gulf states are moving quickly to invest in Syria's post-Assad's future, launching diplomatic, financial, and infrastructure support. Following the ousting of former Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad in December, Saudi Arabia and Qatar jointly paid off Syria's $15.5 million debt to the World Bank. That unlocked access to critical reconstruction grants.
This isn't just symbolic, it's economic diplomacy in action. Among the key deals is the launch of the Fayha white cement factory in Adra Industrial City, a project that's expected to support Syria's long-term reconstruction efforts. Of course, this comes after a wave of Gulf-led investments in Syria in recent months, from Qatar's $7 billion energy deal to DP World's $800 million port agreement, and follows the joint Saudi-Qatari payoff of Syria's debt to the World Bank.
That's all for this morning's headlines. You can get these stories and follow our live coverage at our site. Yasmin Al-Taji, The National.